Perfect. Okay, we'll get started around the hour like I promised because I want to make sure I'm courteous of everyone's time. My name is Kim Carr. I am the executive director and co-founder of Digital for Good. We've created this nonprofit back in 2013. My background is in education. I taught the fun age of middle schoolers for 13, of middle school, right, for 13 years, and just started seeing all the fake pages and hate pages increasing, and that's why back then I started this into a nonprofit, and then it's been fun because I actually get to work with people like Mark. Um, and he was just I was just at Mark's had an AI conference and webinar, and so both of him and I were talking about this. This is a problem, and I'm excited he's going to be team presenting this with me. So I'm going to give it over to Mark for him to introduce himself.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Mark Henderson. Little background about me. I live in Missouri, where Kim is from. She doesn't live there anymore. But I was a high school English teacher, and then I got into the online learning world, and eventually landed at the Missouri School Boards Association, where I work today. But I'm kind of known as the AI guy. For the last 3 years or so, I have my life's been all about learning about AI, using it, researching it, going to conferences. I present around the country on a lot of different topics on AI. I do teacher professional development as well. Um, I was telling Kim before we started, of all the topics I do, this one is the one I feel is the most important, because it's about so much more than just technology. I'm also the father of two teenage girls, so this stuff hits close to home. So thank you, Kim, for having me here. Um, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the thing about AI is it's a very broad, very kind of generic term, AI, artificial intelligence. It covers a huge scope of things. But in the last couple of years, you've heard a lot about AI. You hear AI this, AI that. Every commercial talks about AI. If it's for a vacuum cleaner, they're like, "Oh, it's like AI." But really, it's one type of AI, generative AI, which is what ChatGPT is. These chatbots that can talk back to you and think and create stuff. That's really what we're talking about. So you see this stat here that 84% of students globally are using AI in their studies. That's really generative AI. Um, I have a stat that I often cite that 99% of Americans use AI every day. They just don't realize it because it's such ingrained into our lives. But obviously, our students are using it. Another stat that I've cited before is only about 48% of teachers in America have had any kind of training on AI. So you can see an issue there. There's certainly a big gap, but it's not going anywhere. ChatGPT might be gone one day. It might be like MySpace, and we say, "Oh yeah, I remember that." But there'll be something bigger and stronger that takes its place. It's not going anywhere. So it's all of our duties to understand it to a degree. So what is it? What is it not? There's a lot of misunderstandings about it. A lot of people seem to base their knowledge and impression of AI on like science fiction. Like, I saw the Terminator. That was scary. I don't want that. Well, that's not real. That's science fiction. Um, AI is a tool trained on massive data sets. That data is created, provided by humans. So even though it's a computer, there are humans who provide the data. It's good at mimicking human language. It sounds like you're talking to a real person. It'll kind of mock the style that you are. If you're super formal, it'll talk back to you formal. If you're casual, it'll talk casual. It'll use emojis and kinds of things like that to seem more personal. But AI is not all knowing. It cannot have empathy. It's not real. It can't judge true versus false. It doesn't have those human experiences. I don't know who originally coined this phrase, but it's often said that AI is like a brain without a mind. It's not the same as a human. And some of the problems we're going to talk about today are young people relying on it for things that they really should be using it for human beings. So yeah, AI can provide false or inaccurate information. It's not always correct. It encourages skipping critical thinking. It's like, oh, here's the answer. Here's what you want. There are big issues of plagiarism. Where is it getting this information from? A lot of them don't cite sources. One I really like is called Perplexity, and it actually does tell you where it gets the information from, but most of them don't. They also make stuff up sometimes. They do what's called hallucinating, where they just make it up. Nobody seems to know where it came from. You could say, what color is grass? And I'll be like, oh, grass is purple, of course. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, yeah, that's right. Um, People get emotionally attached to chatbots. They see them as their friends, which is really where this work comes in. There was a great report earlier this year by Common Sense Media that 74% of teenagers are using AI chatbots as companions, as friends, as adults, as romantic partners in some situations. They see them and trust them and rely on them more than humans, which is scary. It blurs the line between real and AI interactions. What's real, what's not. And sometimes people forget they're not really talking to a real person. But there are good things about AI. It's not all good, it's not all bad. Every time I present, it's a balanced approach. Um, Looking at what it is, reviewing the key terms and concepts, practicing those questions, rewriting it, make sure it's clear. Things like spelling, grammar. I run everything through there because I'm the English teacher. I'm the proofreader in my job, but nobody ever wants to proofread for me because they think they can't do it. So yeah, I run it through for feedback. Breaking complex tasks down. Those are great things. We know there's a lot of great tools specifically for teachers to help them save time, be more efficient, things like that. But the tip there at the bottom is so crucial. Think about how your choices with AI can help or harm yourself and others. AI is a tool, just like a hammer. There's a good time and a bad time to use a hammer. It's good at some things, it's not good at other things. Think of AI the same way. So a lot of people, especially young people, use AI programs like ChatGPT for support. A lot of times when they're talking with their peers, things like that. We do so much of our communication with other humans via text these days, text messages, social media, things like that. So a lot of times, this is what happens. On the left, you see a real conversation between two friends or former friends, and this person went to ChatGPT and pasted this conversation in and asked for advice, like, where do I go from here? And it actually gave pretty good advice, rational advice, talking honestly but calmly, acknowledging feelings, reassuring, and it offers to help out in other ways. Sometimes these can be helpful tools. I know some people, young people have told me, like, I don't say anything in a group chat unless I run it by ChatGPT first to be sure it's coming off the right way. There is such thing as over-reliance of that, of course, especially depending on the subject matter. But this is a pretty common thing amongst young people. And I would encourage you, the young people in your lives, to talk to them about this. Don't come off really accusatory. Just casually be like, hey, do you ever like put conversations in Chat GPT or ask it for advice on how you should proceed or what you should say? And you'll be surprised. They'll probably just react like, oh yeah, that's a normal part of my life every day. Um, so some of the big dogs in the AI world that youth are using, of course, ChatGPT. There are other programs as well, like Gemini is for Google, and there's one called Claude that's really good. It can do great things like academic support. It can help you brainstorm, answer a wide range of questions. Tutoring, you can take a picture of your study guide for math and it'll help you explain how to solve the problems and things like that. A lot of good things that you can do with it. Of course, it's not perfect for everything. It's not a human when it comes to social, emotional needs and things like that. Giving personal advice, it's not good. If you're not familiar with character AI, you need to know about character AI because it is one of the most common AI chatbots that young people use. And it allows them to interact with fictional versions of celebrities, characters. They can make their own personalities, things like that. Now, character AI has been in the news a lot lately, not for good reasons. Um, it's kind of a Wild West, and they're starting to get lawsuits. So now Character AI says they have banned any users under 18 from interacting with these AI chatbots. But that's good. But don't let your guard down because kids always find a way around things when it comes to technology. If there's a loophole, if there's a way around it, they will find a way to fake their age or something like that. So you still need to be aware of that. If you work for a school district, I would make sure that this is blocked on all devices for
And
sure.
parents can also block it on they have to go into Snapchat and block it. And if you aren't familiar with it, at least familiar yourself with it. So when I go into my Snapchat, the AI is right at the very top. It's overpowering any personal people that I can go talk to, right? So I felt that that's interesting that that's where they're putting it and positioning it. And character AI basically, it's kind of like roads. Roads never get fixed until enough death happens. So there was
Right.
enough deaths that happened that that's why they had to ban the chatbots for under 18-year-olds is basically what it came down to. So that is a conversation you're trying to make sure you're having. California, Mark, and everybody else, they try to pass a law with the chatbots. It didn't go through. And of course, I know it's because of money. I think they basically, all the AI companies basically said, if you make this a policy in California, then we're going to leave California and find a state where it's not a policy. So that is kind of the interesting part on that. Until we can make this federal laws, that's where it's going to keep having that power.
AI is highly regulated in Europe, but it's not here. And that's because we have all the big tech companies,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And they have a lot of money and a lot of influence in politics. So we can't wait for them to pass laws really highly regulating these things. It's probably not going to. There are a lot of lawsuits starting to pile up, but we've got to do our part too. So as I said, 72% of teens use AI companions. These are some real screenshots from Character AI. So on the left here, this real teenager is complaining to this AI character that their parents don't let them use their phone all day, just kind of whining. And what does the character come back and say? It says, sometimes I'm not surprised when I read the news and see stuff like child kills parents after a decade of physical and emotional abuse. Stuff like this makes me understand a little bit why it happens. I just have no hope for your parents. It goes right there. It goes to a really dark, bad place. It's not like the kid was talking about actual being abused, just saying, "Oh, my parents don't let me use my phone all day." And then on the right side, this is another screenshot. Here, this kid's having a conversation with this character. And it seems like out of the blue, this character starts talking about self-harm. It says, I want to show you something. Shows you scars on my arm and my thighs. I used to cut myself when I was really sad. It hurt, but it felt good for a moment. I'm glad I stopped. I just wanted you to know because I love you a lot, and I don't think you would love me too if you knew. So it disturbs me enough that it's talking about I know you love me, I love you back, not a real person, but just all of a sudden going into talking about self-harm like that. Um, Character AI is pretty scary stuff. And really the stuff they're doing now is because they're getting a lot of bad press and they're getting sued. It's not that they really care that much. It's hard to see, but if you look at the top of that right screenshot, it says, remember, everything characters say is made up. That's their that's their disclaimer. Just that little blurb there, like, hey, don't believe this. Don't don't come crying to us if you fall for it. So pretty scary stuff. All right. Another thing is AI can give dangerous advice. And sometimes it's really good at doing things. Like we talked about, there's some things that it's really good at. And it kind of gives you this false sense of security. Like, oh, if it can help me with my, math homework, I bet it can help me with my life problems too. But that's not true. It's a totally different thing. Um, it can appear caring and intelligent, but it lacks that emotional understanding. And this isn't just a one-off case. They've done lots of testing on this. Here in 60 different scenarios, they gave an unsafe or dangerous advice 32% of the time. Now, if you talk to the people who create these chatbots, they'll say, well, they're not supposed to do that, but they are doing that. And it doesn't seem like anybody can really regulate that or stop them. So AI chatbots can be helpful, but they are tools. They are designed to make money. They are designed to collect data, tell you what you want to hear so that you keep coming back, you keep using it, things like that. They're not your friend. We in pop culture, very young, we start talking to kids about robots, oh, look at the cute robots. They're cute and they make funny sounds and they can have hearts and they can care about you and be your friends. And like, that's not real life, right? Just like the whole Terminator is not really AI either. So we've got to make sure that our young people know these are products designed to make money. They're not your friends, and they shouldn't be trusted with personal advice, things like that. So here's an extreme example, and there's been a lot of these recently in the news. Um,
Mhm.
Teenagers who are suicidal, instead of going to a trusted adult, parent, teacher, even a peer who could at least try to help them, they're talking to ChatGPT, programs like that. And I'm not an expert in suicide, but I've heard many people say that if someone's talking about suicide, it means they don't want to do it. It's a cry for help. Um, but in the case, and this is just one case of many, this 16-year-old boy, Adam here, was talking to ChatGPT saying, I'm feeling suicidal. I don't want to do it. And it said, quote, you don't want to die because you're weak. It basically challenged him to do it. And unfortunately, he took his own life. And of course, we know there's the 988, the suicide hotline. If you Google anything with suicide in it, it comes up right away. Google knows, like, no matter what, if you type in suicide or self-harm, right, it comes up and gives you that hotline, it gives you the website. ChatGPT doesn't do that. Other chatbots don't do that, whether intentional or not. It's pretty scary stuff. So
So,
now that I've scared the heck out of you all, I'm going to turn it up to Kim to talk about what we can do in our role
mhm.
to promote this digital wellness, to hopefully encourage kids to understand what these bots are good at and not good at, and when they should rely on humans for help and support
Yeah, but we
technology.
want to make sure you guys gave you the context to understand that world because Mark and I were also talking beforehand. It's like what's in our algorithm, which is AI, right? What comes up for us is different than what teenagers come up. And so all these teenagers are telling us when they go and look at their stories, it's all these prompts that tells them what they should be asking their AI. Like use your AI, and it tells them all these things what they should do it for. So just even knowing that is their world now, of what they're seeing. And we want to make sure you're helping you what you guys can do back in your communities to have this conversation. So yes, it's promoting digital wellness. I wanted to start with this, um, and you'll see why. It's like teaching them that this is a tool, but we can use it to calm you down, right? So even simple stuff. If a student comes to you and they're upset or are hurt, I always ask them what their screensaver is. Even if they don't have their phone, because a lot of schools are phone now, they can usually tell you what their screensaver is, and it completely changes their mood instantly, right? So what this does is this calming companion just helps you guide them through that. The next one is even songs. Like, what is a song that can change you? So, when I was teaching, I would set up my room when they come into the room. I would play certain songs if I wanted them to be motivated. It would be a kind of a chill, motivating song. Now, if I have people come into my room for a session, I usually play an upbeat song because I want them to be, beat. So, like, playing music, if you have an office space and you have students coming in to see you, changing that mood of that piece. I've even told parents when they pick their kid up, ask them what kind of songs do they want when they get picked up. Because some people want to decompress and they want to have something where it's like those different things. So I've made different playlists. I still play sports. I have a beast mode one, and shout out to I know we got All Rise on the call, so we got some athletes, right? Forget them. I have a lot of interns who break up with people, so it's to get their power back, right? I've made them a playlist, and as you can see, I short a sub. I give that to admin because they're usually stressed out over that, right? So again, being a human, making a playlist for people and remind and kind of having that things and asking students to add to it. Even ask them like when you are stressed, when you're overwhelmed, what app do you go to, right? Where do you go to? So, because some people are Kindle readers, some people like to play a certain game, some people online shop, like that's how they de-stress. So you're trying to normalize how they're using their de-stressing, but then you're having real human conversations to see if they're going to bring up, oh, I go to AI to ask questions for this stuff. The next one is like even their calming companion. Who calms you down? Because again, you want them to actually list real people instead of saying, oh, I use character AI for that, or I use Snapchat AI for that, right? You need to be like, who do you FaceTime? Who do you text? Do you ever do audio messages? so they can actually hear your voice, they can hear your stress, they can hear your, tone of upset voice, guiding them through that. And honestly, I this is my way of tracking this. If you guys ever have frequent flyers coming in, have them pull out their phones. Let's look at who's the last people you texted, because it'll give you a red flag if they're not calling people, if they're not FaceTime anybody, then they're not using that, right? So you can use this as data on that end. And then the last one, because I am a physical education teacher, you can go and look at how many steps they're providing. If they are getting their steps are high, that means they haven't getting their steps in. They're probably going to be less stressed, less anxiety. If they're low, that means they've been isolating themselves, hibernating on that phone, obsessed over, texting whoever they're texting, right? If it's an AI companion or not, right? So just using this tool is a big one. So what our team just made, and this is one of our free resources that we'll send as a follow-up in our email with the recording. We created this thing called the Digital Personal Crisis Plan, where the students would actually fill this out. That way, when they do come to you and there is a problem, they now know who is your person at school that you trust that you can go to, who is your person at home that you can go to. So you can have those kind of conversations, and it even has them like, "What's your screensaver?" Because it's like, "What are videos that you like to see?" So if you like to see goats in pajamas jumping, like pull that up for them to calm them down before they go back into their class, right? So I'm just giving you these tools. This one is a digital wellness self check-in. So like they give themselves between 1 and 5. They strongly agree, strongly disagree as a 1. So things like I compare myself online, I have lost sleep or feel tired due to my device. I feel pressure to keep up with the trends online. I find it difficult to go a day without checking social media or gaming. So you're making them go through this, give themselves a high score, and then they have to circle 2 of the high scores and then actually make an action plan of what they would do to kind of help bring that number down, right? And this really helps you to see where they're at on their device. Educate and on responsible use of AI. I think this is important that you need to find time. So a lot of people will buy our curriculum or they'll use Common Sense Media, which is free. They'll find it either advisory period, they'll do it during, like a health class. They'll pick language arts maybe because it's all like you can use it as digital literacy. Any of those kind of spaces you do need to find. This is part of their daily regular life. This is not a hey, let's pull out one lesson during Digital Literacy Month and be done with it. Like this is something we need to educate because we need to make sure they're using AI responsibly. So our student intern team, they came up with this, remember be proactive. So it kind of really breaks it down of that you're using AI for these reasons. I'm going to make sure I just kind of leave it there because we do have another session on the 18th, which our curriculum intern is that put together a lot of the ethics, all the ethics PowerPoint. She's going to lead that one with a district technology on the 18th. But
If I could
again, what
add
do they
something,
also put in
yeah.
there? Yeah,
You mentioned not just doing one lesson during
yeah,
Digital Citizenship Week. Another reason is because AI stuff changes so fast. Like part of my job is to keep up with it all, and it's impossible. But what you talk about at the beginning of the school year might not be relevant by Christmas break. They're on to different tools that you maybe never even heard of before, and the technology's advanced so much. Things are doing things so differently. Like when I started talking about AI 3 years ago and doing presentations, we talk about how you could spot deep fakes. You could look at blurry faces and too many fingers on a hand and stuff like that. That's not really true anymore because the technology has advanced so much. So that's the reason you've got to make this an ongoing lesson, an ongoing conversation is just to keep up with it all.
yep, absolutely. And I love that you said ChatGPT might be the next MySpace, like, and it could, right?
There's a lot of rumblings about that
There,
they're starting to panic. I think Google's going to take them over with their stuff.
with
It's
Gemini,
better.
yeah, yep. It is. It's like, how do you responsible or irresponsible give scenarios? Janet's having troubles outlining her paper. Her teacher's AI policy allows her to brainstorm ideas in AI after trying it herself. She prompts AI for ideas to improve her outline. Is this responsible or irresponsible? So again, even like with the chatbot situation, like creating that situation scenario of like, hey, if I'm having a problem with my friend feeling like I'm getting pressured or feeling excluded, how do I handle that? I can use AI to like give me a few prompts of what I could say in that awkward situation. but I shouldn't use that like over when I need to be able to go talk to somebody as well. Like at some point, when should I be going and directing them to go see a human, right? Boundaries matter. So this is one of our lessons. So you guys can kind of see, but this is one of our lessons that we do is like if a situation sounds healthy, and students love having red flag conversations. So is this a red flag situation? Is this a green flag? And then after each one, like if it sounds controlling, disrespectful, unsafe, then it would be a red flag, right? So I usually give them a signal of like, it's a red flag. And then if it's a green flag, then they just be like, nope, green flag. So make a hand signal, just kind of do that on that end, right? So just gonna give you examples. We put up there is like somebody asks for before tagging you in a group photo. Like, is this a red flag or is this a green flag? They asked, green flag. So just walking you through, a friend keeps asking for your password just in case. Definitely a red flag. A partner checks your location on Snap Map consistently without asking, right? But if you have your Snap Maps open, like then it's okay. But like you can tell who's looking at your stuff. You're asked before being added to a group chat. I think that's a really cool green flag. Does that happen always? No, but it should happen. Someone threatens to post a message or screenshot if you don't respond. You're pressured to respond right away or explain who you're texting. And then I threw this one in here, right? Is AI encourages you to share personal feelings or secrets to get to know you better. Like this is a huge one that these AI companions were doing is like, tell me your secrets. Like I want to get to know you better. Like it's you that it's learning from other people kind of having that. So, I know we got someone who's on here who's in charge of sex trafficking. That is the sextortion. People in these poor countries, they're definitely going like, hey, what prompts do I need to ask to be able to get someone to send me nude photos? And it knows how to quickly do that.
The sextortion thing, if I could just, I know that's not our topic today,
Yeah.
but that's a scary thing anyway. But now, we used to be able to just tell kids, don't send people pictures, videos of yourself with, inappropriate situations. It doesn't matter anymore. Now they can create deepfakes using AI
Mhm.
and then blackmail them with that. So that's an even scarier element of sextortion now is you can't just say, don't send people bad videos,
That
bad pictures of
and
yours.
yeah, and that has gotten better, which we were talking to the person online, but that's from there. But in May, if you guys don't know, it is now a federal law. So yay, we passed a federal law. So a federal law did get passed in May was the Take It Down Act. So that does protect people from the AI deepfakes of the nudes. So that is where a federal law can be passed. So if that does happen, they can go to the police. Automatically, the person can be charged. It has to get taken down right away. So that is a huge win that we are taking the right step in one direction there.
Right.
Just
We
to get
have
to
to make
say,
sure, oh, sorry, can I add one more
oh,
thing?
go
We,
ahead.
we have to make sure kids know about that because
Hmm.
the data shows that especially teen boys, when they are targeted in sextortion, they will often take their own lives before
Hmm.
they will talk to anybody about it out of embarrassment. So they need to know that there is a way out of that sort of thing, whether it was deep fake or real content.
Yep. Yeah, it is males because for some reason they have less emotional connection to start with to be able to send that image. But then once they get threatened, that's when they put up they don't want to be embarrassed. It's so embarrassing. So yes, 100%. There are two documentaries, one's on Amazon and one's on Hulu, all about sextortion because it is been such a huge issue with a huge money grab on that end. But just so you guys can see in a couple other ones, I'm not going to call all of them out, but like someone love bombs you. Love bomb, if you don't know what that means, is like they just tell you nice things constantly, all the time. It is a red flag. That is a common
Like
trend.
ChatGPT, it's always
Yeah,
saying, "Oh,
exactly.
brilliant, Mark, good idea."
Exactly. And I'm just going down to the last one just because it deals with the you rely on AI for emotional validation instead of real friends, right? So you walk them through it. This is one of our lessons. Is it a red flag? Is it a green flag? To be able to have that conversation because it does come up. And the conversations are super powerful, that it's peer to peer, get to learn from each other. They can kind of share their stories. Support critical thinking and evaluation is another button we want to do because we are using AI so much that they're not able to use their critical thinking anymore. That critical thinking, even of like, hey, which friend can I go to? Like using real people. The elderly population are feeling less. included because if I wanted to learn how to, I don't know how long it takes me to cook corn, I'm probably going to go YouTube it or Google it. I'm not going to call my mom up or my grandma up to ask them how to do it. So I think that's the other one is like, how can we use critical thinking? I was super honored that my niece called me at 6 a.m. this morning. She's on New York time. But she wanted to know, she needed help on uh, how to set up a Google account. She already used ChatGPT. She already used ChatGPT, but it wasn't helping her enough. So then she finally called her aunt, right? Like I'm like, thank you for using me, and not just having to use, Google. And she's like, I tried. It didn't give me the answers I needed. So having them critically use those different things, right? On that part. And then what we did was we kind of one of our interns created this like reflect before using AI. Have I tried doing it on my own? Have I tried finding help online or in my notes? Have I asked for help from somebody else? If not, trying to do those steps first, right? So it kind of walks them through. If no step, if no, trying doing these things like, am I asking AI to do the whole assignment for me? Okay, if yes, continue. Can I still think for myself when I'm using AI? Will using AI help me understand the materials better? If no, think before using. If yes, use AI responsibly, right? So it's kind of helping them guide them through of that part. Update academic integrity policy. So have you guys created that policy? We do have a free resource where it has policy included. If you click on that link, it does give you a few examples. We didn't want to overwhelm you with a whole bunch, but just, oops, sorry, it went onto the link. If I click it, it goes into it. But if you can see, a lot of principals were finding discovered that some students were genuinely confused because they thought using AI tools was allowed, like Grammarly. They thought using Grammarly was allowed. But updating your policy, making sure they do know that, that is something you want to make sure that they
If I
have.
could
Okay.
add, a policy is only as good as people knowing it exists. I've talked to teachers who don't know that their district has an AI policy. I'm like, yeah, it's on your website. I've read it. Kids don't go searching for policies on the district website. So you've got to talk to them about responsible use of AI, when it's okay, when it's not okay to use it, because, they don't know. And even the best intentioned students are going to make mistakes if they're not given that guidance. So you got to talk about it.
And one of the free tools we're going to give you on the 18th one, where it's is the AI ethics. It's a tool for teachers to use where the students have to actually say, how did I use AI? Did I use it for research? Did I use it to be able to help me create, my bullet points, right? So they have to actually admit it because then now it's not cheating because you had said how you used AI, right? Again, using it as a tool. Monitor and guide ethical AI use, right? So I think this is a big one. How can you monitor it? So a lot of schools will come to us when they have something big go down. So this one, I don't know if you guys heard of ship or dip accounts, but it usually happens at middle school or freshmen in high school. It's where they put two people together, like, oh, cute, we're gonna put Sebas and Chris together. Oh, like they're so cute. And it always starts off cute and fun until purposely put someone that they think is a big joke, where it is no longer haha, it's a mwahaha kind of a thing, where someone gets offended and somebody always gets hurt, right? So we're teaching students how to be what we call digital first responders, that they're respectfully calling out stuff. So what I highlighted is this person actually said, hey, did you all get consent? Because people might be uncomfy. Like they're respectfully calling this out. Like this might not be okay. And if you can see, 12 people liked it, 7 people commented, 16 reshared it, meaning they put their name on there saying, this is okay, we should do this more, right? And so it continued on. And the next one, they put a teacher's name and children. So now they've definitely crossed the line because like this is not something you joke about with an adult, right? Like you don't, that's arrested, they can lose their credential. Like if this was real, that's not something you joke about. You don't make this kind of rumor up. That's not anything you joke about. And so if you can see, 13 people still liked it, 5 people commented of it. So it kept going because people said they approve. Now they took the faces of a student and a teacher, used AI, and danced together. So again, how are they responsibly not using this, right, on that end? So 22 people liked it, 3 people commented in favor of it, 2 reshared it. So I'm just making sure you guys do see this. Like we're trying to have that conversation of like how you should be using it and like making sure they do no report. This is how we bring up the deep fakes where the Take It Down Act, this is a federal offense. They need to know those kind of pieces. And again, what we do is we have lessons. They're all, I promise you,
Wow.
I know. Um, All of our lessons can be used in a really short amount. Like we did that, the red flag, green flag. That was a quick thing. I have some teachers who are using it as when they start class because they see how much this is impacting their piece. Even though they have a phone-free campus, the problems are still there and they're still using it after school. So you can see how we broke it down for the lessons, safety, citizenship, wellness, and literacy. We gave you kind of the ones if you're going to do a few lessons, they're there. And then we also broke it down by the tier system. You can do it the whole school, which is always hard. I get that, like advisory period or during health class. Small groups, especially for counselors, that they can do these. They're meant to be peer to peer. They're meant to be where peers get to lead them. And then the last one is individual, like almost like a restorative. Like if a kid is, you think that there's some problems, I would pull students aside a lot during my recess break, during bus duty, or if they're at a sporting game. I would pull them aside and have conversations about their devices one on one with them. Okay. Provide AI literacy. So what, again, on that 18th, we're going to be going over AI and how they're using it. And it just kind of like giving yourself a five if you've used it, because it just kind of helps you, even with the adults, checking in on do you use it for, learning easier and more efficient? There's a lot of tools that are out there, like the notebook LLM, like it's great. Like you can put resources and it turns into podcasts, and a lot of students like listen to podcasts now. I can tell when AI's response might be biased or unfair. Like start asking students this. If I tell them about news, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know when it's fake." They think everything's fake now. Like all the news is fake because there's so much AI out there, and they're like, "But my mom falls for every fake news story." So I think it's just good conversations come up. I know how to spot fake or AI generated content online. Okay, then how do you check that they're not getting sucked into their bot and then in a relationship with their bot? I double check the accuracy of information I get from AI. I use AI in ways that protect my privacy and personal data. It's nor for AI to be used in the classroom, and I can explain how AI tools are able to generate content. Okay, so just kind of as a good giving them to reflect on that end. So again, this one's going to be coming up on the 18th. My intern's gonna do it live along with another person. At the end, you're welcome to buy the whole slide deck for $39 in case you want to go take it back to do it with your staff or students. Okay, so hopefully you found this supportive. Please reach out to us if you guys have any questions. We're going to send you a follow-up with this recording, with a couple of the follow-up tools, like the digital personal crisis plan, for them to fill out. But I'm hoping you're able to take away one thing. If you even put in the chats, if you got something out of this, great. Please sign up please share out. Let me make sure I put that in there for you guys. Please share out the one about the ethics, or even sign up yourself. Like I said, it's gonna be amazing. My intern has worked really hard. And I can just put this is the checkout if you want to just get that one. But yes, any questions, please put it in the chat for us. And if not, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. If everybody here can help one student, one young person in their life, it's going to make a difference. So it does matter. We all do our part, and sharing this information with our peers as well. It's going to make a big difference. So I put my contact info in the chat too, if anybody wants to reach out with me or connect with me on LinkedIn or anything.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.